So we are live. I'm excited to be back here with my friend and a repeat guest. Me and Karen have done this lots of times over the years, and this is clan mother Karen Macdonald. And this is Conversations with Gaia, and I'm your host, Robin McClendon. I'm excited to bring you this live stream today because this channel has been a lot about consciousness. Before I restarted and come back to hang out with you guys, we were just doing a lot of ME stuff. And when I stopped, a few years back, I stopped because I got the idea about ME and, where we were moving and how it was fitting into expansion and consciousness and the planet and all that kind of stuff. And I've come back now these days to share with you what I've discovered, my journey. This is not necessarily everybody's journey. Doesn't necessarily work for everyone. We all have different methods to getting to this, the next level ascension. We never arrive at ascension because once you hit one level, it's always another one to get to. But obviously, we're living in some very, very dynamic times. We're living in times where we're really understanding duality, and it's so important. And it's like a gift, because as you move and you start spending more time in the fifth dimension, it's non-duality. So what a wonderful way to really understand what duality is and how to manage yourselves around duality, so that you can recognize and begin to really understand when you're in non-duality, right? And so today, Karen, the clan mother here, I love this woman, and she's done numerous sessions on me. Whenever I'm like looking for something, I'm calling her up and say, hey, clan mama, what's up with what's going on with me? And she's always really good at that. She does a lot of long distance practices. She's an RN of 30 plus years. She's just done lots and lots of stuff, and not to mention just really being, just connected with the absolute logos of this planet. And so today we're going to share a lot about womb healing, really healing the womb, connecting all back to the sacred cosmic womb. And so this, a lot of you who follow me are men out there, and this is a topic that's for all of us, because we all need to move into the space of actually cleansing these lower chakras, reconnecting them with our upper chakras, so that we can actually fully move into expansion. We were laughing when coming on. I said to Clan Mom, I said, it's not just about not eating meat. Right. That was first level 20 years ago. Okay, don't eat the meat, whatever. But it's just so much more that needs to happen right now to transform this carbon body into more of a crystalline body, and also to remove a lot of the connecting fibers, a lot of the implants, it's so much stuff you wouldn't even begin to believe. So we're going to approach the conversation from the standpoint of how we can Karen has so many suggestions around this, but we're going to be looking at it in terms of expanded consciousness and expanded awareness, because what we're doing right now, what we're talking about today, is definitely fourth dimensional stuff. This is 4D stuff, and it's having that awareness on a fourth dimensional, that you're separating and you're spending more of your energy and your frequency in this fourth dimension, so that you can actually expand your awareness into the fifth and seventh, because many of us right now are actually definitely connected with seventh, because we've been at this for a while, so we're familiar with this fifth dimension and being up leveled into seven. So Karen, welcome. Just wanted to kind of set the stage for my community so they can understand what we're about today, and I like to turn it over to you. Let's just, you're familiar with just jumping in and getting this done. And also, you're constantly being interviewed around the globe by a lot of the top interviewers out here, and people who are doing this kind of work, oftentimes sought after in this field. And I'm just fortunate that you're my friend, and I can just call you up and say, hey, let's jump on. And you're always available.
Yeah, I had to just quickly run. I just got a low battery. I went, oh no, I moved the camera.
Looking good. Everything's fabulous.
You can prepare as much as you want. And I went, I moved it, and it pulled out the blood. None of us are infallible. Sorry about that.
No,
Yeah,
it's
no,
fine. Jump in. And anyone who's in the audience right now
yeah,
streaming live with us, please, please ask questions. If you
yeah.
come up on this video after it's been live, ask questions. We'll keep on checking back and forth in there, and we'll answer questions, whenever they come up. So Karen, welcome. Jump in.
Thank you. Thank you, Gain. Part two. Here we go. Anyway, I want to thank everyone in the audience. It's an amazing thing. As Robin said, we've been friends for, it just seems like ages. And when we were in the very beginnings of learning what, empowerment was, and reconnecting the divine feminine and the divine masculine. And as people think it's an ascension and a descension, I went, no, it's about in the center. And that's like my ascending colon and my descending colon. What's in the center? Transverse. And the transverse is what I call integration. And that third point to what I call project ascension.
I love it.
That's actually how it came. Actually, they wanted to on YouTube when we first started out, they said, oh, we're going to do project ascension. And I said, you don't want to ascend. Neither do you want to descend. All the action happens what we call 0 point. That's the same thing. That's why I'm a colon hydrotherapist, right? My many gifts. I have lots of gifts. I have all the fruits and all the gifts, but one of them is being a colon hydrotherapist. So we decolonize people. And that's actually where the action happens. You're absolutely right. We don't need to talk about 5D. I said, my gosh, I can use my genius biofeedback back here.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're getting all purple, well, maybe you're in the 7th. If I can get you to like hot pink, well, maybe you're actually in the 8th dimension or 9th and higher.
Exactly. And one of the things that you and I talked about when we were, catching up the other day, and it's one of the things that Gaia showed me so clearly is the idea that there are dimensions, that we have all the levels of the dimensions within each of the dimensions. So you could be third dimensionally based, and as you're ascending, I always like to say expanding. It's all going inwards, and it's moving with Gaia inside the belly of Gaia. Is the idea that I just forgot what I was going to say.
Expansion.
Yeah, I was talking about expansion, but it was what you were talking about in terms of. But just keep on talking; it'll come back to me. So let's talk about the levels. So as you're moving along, you'll kind of bounce, because a lot of times I get people saying, "Why do I feel like I'm bouncing back and forth?" Sometimes I feel like I'm 4. Sometimes I feel like I'm 8th or 9th, because like you said, the chakras, everything is firing. And then boom, they're right back in 3, because there's levels. You sort of level up within your dimensions as you're stepping over into the next dimension. So I've been shown that every dimension has levels within it, because you're moving back and forth as you're really learning to stabilize that frequency. So that's why, because you've got me on introduced me to the genius biofeedback, and I've been working on that with my clients as well. And so some days you could be peak. I mean, I'll do people's auras at their peak, right? By the time we finish working, it could get that sort of that limey green that looks a little olivey, because that means a lot was coming out of their adrenals. They were releasing a lot of stuff, right? And so they've come down and back into some more of the 3D stuff to get it out. So you're constantly bouncing back and forth, and that's to be expected, right, Karen?
Yeah, absolutely. What Robin's actually talking all this. Oh, look at it's 11:44 here.
Wow, that's a good number. That's good.
That's an amazing. February the 4th, 11:44. I'm like, whoa. I'm just going to show people if they haven't done this, because you can go through Robin, and one of the things that's called geniusbiofeedback.com. There's a 14-day free trial. So anyone can do that, but I will give you the caveat is that you're going to have to go to your settings here first and make sure, because it's going to say I'm trusted, which means you get it free. I'm trusting the plan, not trusting the plan, like a lawyer with money.
I'll make sure I put a link down below for anybody who's interested.
Robin could put her link down below, but if not, just put Genius Biofeedback 14-day trial. But just make sure you go to general, and then make your show to general, and then to device management, and then it's all the possibility way there. You can have, it's like what we're doing. It's got a beginner version, but the Genius Insight, and I will just do it because most people have never seen what we're talking about here. And when you have an aura, when you have an aura that's actually really hot, it was mine the other day. And she's talking that everything is all hot pink.
Yeah.
We're burning up everything on reentry. There's going to be no corona effect in me, let me tell you.
None.
It could be, you can see just a little bit of color starting to change here, which is why I'm going to go do a steam. Okay. You got to open up those things. And when people are, getting into that kind of healing or something, or not doing too well, that's kind of what we're looking at. She's talking about that limey green coming out of the fourth chakra. Now, what I want to do is caution people is it is correlating directly to your pH levels, which is almost like your chakra levels, by the way, and what was normal. So that was one of the things. What people are forgetting, the dimensions within the dimensions would be what? Like looking at your acupuncture points, guys.
Yeah.
So those dimensions within dimensions. So this is why I like going into this kind of a technology and going into what we call, some people think it's shamanic, some people call it acupuncture meridians, traditional Chinese medicine, whatever you want, but we can actually scan you and see which one of those points are blocked where exactly. So if, in this case, someone's liver is out, it's not just about doing a liver gallbladder flush here, right? It's going to go right to that liver point and tell you where it's wrong. So you might have a sore foot or sore legs or restless legs, but you need to do a liver flush with Epsom salts and it's gone. Or I have so many people now that have got anxiety and anger.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing. You want to do the clearing through that, because that liver meridian is where the anger is held.
And this past year has created, like the symptoms that are going to come as a result of COVID have really very little to do with the virus. It's the way humanity was expected to handle the virus. That being the case, when you talk about what Karen you're talking about, there is when you store a lot of that anger and fear, anxiety, what have you, you're not releasing your neuropeptides, and that's what's actually flushing emotions out the system so that your system can manage it. And we've just been holding a lot of that in because emotion hasn't really been allowed to flow. Like the distancing, you can't hug, all these things are what help to release neuropeptides. And if you're just sitting in fear and, no other kinds of emotions can come out, but crying or anxiety, you're storing those into your organs, and they're just recirculating in the body.
So for sure. You're exactly right on that. And that's why we're specializing in, whether you want to call it earthing, grounding, in Gaia, rewombing. I'm not going to leave the guys out because, it's funny. We call it yoni steam, or we call it a vaginal, or, in my language, it's called a banyan. Bannic steam, or it might be called a banjo.
Oh, I like that.
We're going to reverb here. I don't know reverb on my end.
I think that's good too, because one of the things when you think about it even in the Vedic, where the yoni comes out of, you have the yoni and the lingam are synonymous in that. And the lingam is the male aspect of the yoni, right? And so it's important for me, it's important to have that discussion around the fact that we're moving back into partnership, and what's good for one is good for both. And the idea of when I think a lot of the men now that I'm coming across that are actually at this place where they're in the 4D, moving into the 5D, totally get all of this. And they're totally in this space of moving a lot of these technologies through their own body and really sharing it with their partners as well. So, definitely. And it will be nice to kind of reverberate it as well. I like that.
Yeah.
So why don't you kind of start off telling us what some of the benefits, or like just talk about what the steaming is, and the benefits and all that good stuff.
Do that. I'm getting reverb on my end, so I'm hearing myself twice, so I don't know what it sounds like on your end.
It sounded fine, but I think it's pretty good. Yeah.
Something just happened here. Anyway, we call it a yoni steam. Okay, for men, we call it a resume steam. And I don't know, that's because I think they wanted to resume relations with the females.
I love that. Resume.
Yeah, it is. It's Zoom, right? No. I could laugh at that all day. Anyway, so the yoni steam is more popular in Eastern terms. Here we would call it a vaginal steam or a pelvic floor. And there are two schools, actually there's 3 or 4, but I've been doing a lot of stuff with something called Red Tent Wellness. And then the other one, and she's having a pelvic hydrotherapy course, so we're doing hydrosols, so how to use the herbs, how to use the oils, that type of thing. So there's one coming up, I think, on Sunday. If you take a look at Red Tent Wellness, you contact Lisa Kelly. The other one is Kelly Garza. She is at steamychick.com, which I think is hilarious. But steamychick.com has got also, and they all have Facebook forums, by the way. So if you're a little hesitant, go and investigate, but do some reading about it, or a little bit. But this is nothing new. This has been going on before the pyramids. And it was even in all the peaceful manuscripts and all those things that we see herbology was using for a long time. The other thing as well, and we'll talk about, is womb pearls. And I do this just to make sure.
Maybe we could just turn the volume down a little bit. There is a little bit of feedback, Eva was saying, so maybe I'll turn my volume down. If you turn yours down some, that might help.
That's where it is. Okay. Oh, no, I'm getting reverb again.
Okay, she said perfect, so I think it's better now. So
let's see. Okay, we'll check this out. So anyway, no, I'm still getting reverb. Anyway, what I wanted to do is show you that there's another school too. You're going to hear about Womb Sauna Institute and Yoni Institute. So these are done out of Georgia. There's no lack of teachings here. And the other thing I'm going to talk about, so primarily going to be the steaming, and then the other thing will be what's called womb pearls. They're also called herbal tampons. Then there's also an injectable we can do, like an injectable gel, herbal gel. It can be also injected either vaginally or rectally. So this is where the men will come into. And the other thing I ran right before the show, I said, hey, something for the men and women. Anyway, this is something called essential oil or aromatherapy suppositories. So most of us been to the Dollarama store. These are just those little silicone pop-out things. So not just for ice cubes, I actually make raw cacao or freezer chocolate. So basically, this is going to be freezer chocolate with your herbs in it or oils. I can either eat it this way, or we call it bone candy too. So you can do all sorts of things in here. So if people like cannabis, it's another way to do it. But you can make, basically, you get coconut oil, and I use a little bit of cacao butter, just liquidate it like you're going to do chocolates, and then you add your herbs or oils in. So you just put it in here, the mixture, freeze it, and so you actually just pop it out, let it sit for about 5 minutes, grease it up with coconut oil, and it's the upgrade to, let's say, a glycerin suppository. So this is a great way to put things into the system, because people don't realize when you put things in and we're vibrating that high, you can't break things down. When things are coming in, that's moving people towards what you see: breatharianism, solarianism, enlightenment, peace, joy, creator, co-creation. I don't use the word God as co-creation. And that's where we need to be, is co-creators with each other. This has got nothing to do with being, as they call, free love or polyamory. You have to co-create with yourself first. And that was the most integral teaching that I've ever had in my life. It's a simple set of books. I don't know, Robin, or if anyone's ever heard of them. They're called Anastasia, The Ringing Cedars of Russia. They are beautiful.
I've read one that was translated into English. My Russian esthetician gave it to me. And then I went through, and online, there's a series of them that have been translated now, and they're books on tape if anybody is interested. And I'll put that down below. But the Anastasia series is it's just spectacular. So what was your walk away with that series, Karen?
Well, what I wanted to do is tell people you can actually put in Anastasia Ringing Cedars of Russia in free PDF, by the way, so you can read it online. Otherwise, they have it at the Ringing Cedars store online. And, they've got it there. There's an old set that the original set looks like very much the picturesque stuff in the eco villages and periodic with our, as you think Russian or Rus houses and stuff, it's beautiful. The new ones are sort of a, modern art kind of a thing. Anyway, 10 books. And they start with basically, Anastasia, who are we? Women. Now, the reason this is important, everyone wants to decolonize, right? Want to come off the grid, want to come off the matrix. Well, these people were never in the matrix. Did they know how to help you? And so what they did is this woman was so incredibly brilliant, and this eco village of people, they were in the Russian Siberia Taiga, otherwise known as the Bear Clan, i.e. they were here and they had the original teachings before Noah's Ark and the Arcturian. And so these people, if you go on, and I'm really going to encourage you, Robin, these are done in a DNA activation code. So if A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, it's a mathematical DNA stimulation code. Okay, so this isn't just a simple book of books, but the short version of it is that these people were in the Anga. They could actually beat the Roman Empire, i.e. you call the Cabal, the Khazarian Mafia, whatever it is. They maintain their integrity. They maintain being off-grid, gifting, barter, that type of thing. They live in balance, in harmony with nature. They could transmute radiation since Atlantis, using simple things like shaga, cedar wood. That's where the cedars come in. Okay, yes. And it's an old, even Jewish or Russian. Passover Sidar. What does it mean? To pass over the angel of death. We're teaching things. They were teaching things. I was talking to one of the girls. I said, you know what it reminds me of? She goes, did you ever read James Redfield, like, you know, the Celestine Prophecy? I said, oh, yes. Definitely. You know, it's the same thing that she was creating and showing you how to make it here, but not here, how to create that frequency, how to create a portal. And that's what they've done. They've made an energetic Stargate portal around them. So you have to be a certain.
I guess I'm getting that. So let's just stop there for a second. So folks, what we're seeing here, if we're talking about, this is like for those that follow it, a lot of this comes from the ME thinking, but that's one of the biggest things I discovered for me about the ME was that it was teaching you how to recognize the opening and closing of portals. That was a big one. And when I realized that it was more to do with that than it was teaching us how to do what Karen's talking about, take back the control of ourselves and to degrid ourselves, like you say, to decolonize and to remove yourself out of the matrix. This is the biggest thing that it's teaching. And so going back to what you're saying, it's this idea of creating these portals that you're moving through them all the time. You know, it's like beginning to recognize you're moving through them and then taking command of it and move in and out them at will. And this is exactly what's happening right now during these times, especially as we've just moved from the Iron Age into the Golden Age, or from Piscean Age into the Aquarian Age. This is this time period of like at least the next good 4 or 5 years before we really lock in more into the Aquarian energy that you're being taught to do. So this series is brilliant. I got I ordered the oil from that area, and I use it like on my salads, things like that. It's really, really good. I mean, you can tell the difference of that streaming into the body. So continue. Yep. So I like that. I like that point that you're making, because this idea of cleansing and clearing is about awareness, right? And we're doing this, but you're doing it with a particular level of awareness. That's also what's helping to activate it. You're knowing what you're doing and why you're doing it.
Yeah, it really is huge. And one of the things too is that in the series, I'll just go on for another minute about it. The series also talked about how to realize or how to recognize that there's an issue, there's a problem. Most people are in an oblivious state here, even with COVID. I mean, we couldn't put anything more blatantly in your face, like, you know, it's the Hollywood production going on, you know. So, I mean, the whole thing is how to stay present, how to stay focused. That's that journey. That's that light to someone's vision. It's not mine, but that's okay. You know, it needs to, you know, I guess work through its system. It wouldn't be my first choice. I'm all about transparency and truth. But what happens is in the series, they show you what the problem was. They show you how they remained intact, showed you how to do the original courting, not men and women dating. They taught you how to not be a partner, to part away from each other. That's a partnership. You know, it's a temporary thing based on shipping, which is money. So it taught you about how to love yourself. And when you are fully present, fully aligned with those kind of energies, well, now what you're going to have is two people healed, two people whole, two people holistic. And that's exactly what the aura is about right there. That is the aura. You are in sync with Mama, with Gaia. Same grid, same protection that Mother gives us. Your immune system is that grid. whether we call it the pulsed energetic magnetic field, that's actually what we're doing with the genius. We're putting back your Faraday cage if we can. Now, in there, that's exactly, Robin, why they want you 6 feet apart. If you're hot pink, and Robin and I are all here, and we start activating, and we have 15,000 therapists around the globe doing that, and in the biofeedback community, over 250,000 of us that are doctors, nurses, universities as well using that. You know, people go, oh, that's whatever. No, these were the $30,000 units, and the Skew and the Indigos and the Imagrubs. These were $30,000, $50,000 machines that are now free on your iPad,
Yeah,
tab,
exactly.
or any bloody phone. You're not
Yeah,
paying for these transmitters that we used to pay $20,000, $30,000 for to transmit, to open up that energy. Now we can just interface with the crystals on here.
right.
We can turn any any phone.
Because of the crystals. Because of the crystals,
The
exactly. And
crystal
you're talking
therapy.
about the technology.
Yeah.
And to your point, even with Anastasia, the other thing that I really was taught by that is the idea of when you do use the womb, and we do connect with the cosmic womb to procreate, be it a human being, be it anything that we're procreating into our
Exactly.
lives, you're doing it from a standpoint of independence. When you bring it in, you separate yourself from it, and you allow that creation to go full into its own independence and full into its own exploration of the realm. And when she gave birth to her child, her whole way of raising them was amazingly different than this culture. You know, the idea that it got immediately available to explore and start. We have this idea that we always have to sort of teach, you know, our kids exactly what to be, this programming aspect of it. And so it is this beauty about decolonizing. I like that concept for sure.
Or, in computer terms, we're reframing it. You're reprogramming it. So what we were taught in multi-generational cult, that's what mind control is, MK Ultra, right? You're repeating the same program because it's a program. So Anastasia teaches you basically delete it. Reframe it, new program install. Hello, code come down. And it was really funny because, when you think about it, how simple it was, right? And this is so simple. Tesla technology is actually about wood and water and all the natural elements, right? She tells you how to do it, right? Now, the key to is like in things like spring water, using the food from the forest, we call foraging, right? Gardeners all know this. David Wolf knows this kind of technology. This is the inner, the holy seeing gospel of peace. This whole thing was about that. And, it's about being a breatharian. Next step down is being a fruitarian, like Dr. Sebi teaches, or Dr. Robert Morris. Next thing is being a vegetarian, right? Who's that? Well, if you want in that category, you got Dr. Robert O. Young I hang out with, or Marcus Rothbratz, or Kerr Brotman, or any of those, right? But, you keep coming down that notch and notch and notch, right? And then you have the people in hell, right? Or, the macdonald, carcass crunchers, right? Again, those are the people subjecting themselves to alcohol, tobacco, nicotine, drugs. And I call them carcass crunchers because they are. That's what they're eating. They're blood-based, right? So that's all the people. They're all grossed out about adrenochrome now. Well, I said, what do you think is in your, cow? What do you think is in your steak? What's in your hamburger? What's in the chicken? What's in the fish?
Yeah, that's all been put in and programmed towards, cannibalism.
Exactly. You're in a lower survival. Those are the people that we call zombification. There's just nothing up here anymore. Yes, there's a way. There are people that literally break that programming,
right?
And they regain their lives. It's amazing. That's what I do if we can. And that's actually why we're doing that, because it's the same thing with the children that have been abused. They break that kundalini and they force it. And then they fracture that because it's not designed. We're designed to go at different stages of our lives too, right? So when they actually, are abusing these missing women and children and stuff like that, and the trafficking, shatter that whole entire essence of that individual. And so what I have to do, whether you call it soul retrieval, soul fragmentation, seeing what we can put back, that's where the genius comes in, because you are a bioelectrical magnetic being first. We must remember that. I have to deal with that aspect first, and then the physical will follow. even if it was done at an early stage for, as we call SARA, or sexual abuse and ritual abuse. And that's where I'm coming back to the steaming,
Right.
because there's so many people that go,
Even
I want to
just
help these children.
just to pop this in there,
Yeah.
is that even because for years I followed a lot of this whole thing, you know um the various sexual abuses and what have you, and for me, where I'm an empath and I'm sensitive to it and what have you, and always wanted to do my part to
Me too.
to elevate the consciousness around that. I didn't have any of those traumas personally. And so a lot of people that could be listening to this are like, yeah, definitely sensitive to it. But how do I fit into that conversation? And then this past year, Gaia sent me on a pilgrimage from Uluru in Australia to the Yucatan Peninsula and the pyramids of Kanish Kakmu. And this whole journey, she was constantly opening, and I was learning a lot about myself. And when I was in the Yucatan Peninsula, I had the opportunity to go through a ceremony with a shaman.
Right.
It's quite by accident. Nothing's by accident, but it was quite unexpected. But it was an incredible ceremony that he went through and just did a lot of what he called ancient historical releasing of my chakras. And but what was interesting there is that he said over time I would have memories about various things and that connected and had my chakras blocked. Well, one of them for me is that I came into this understanding that I had had pelvic floor trauma. How? Back in the old days when, you did something wrong and, someone put you over their lap and started hitting your behind as a way of disciplining. And that was something that many people got that. I mean, that was kind of common, that it actually shocked. And I actually had the pelvic floor disconnecting from that, because when somebody you love, that you cherish, that is just simply trying, in their mind, they're just trying to reprimand you, so that, like we were talking about the early programming, so that you don't do something that's going to harm you. But when you get that smacking on the behind and it's shocking you, you're like, oh my God, it set you up. And that was huge for me. So I started sharing that. And when I would share it with people, my clients, and they're like, oh my goodness, I never thought about it like that. But yes, so I want to just throw that in there. We don't have to have had something that was this really, really incredible disconnect or shattering. In this culture, we're programmed for these small, minute shatterings that just kind of go underneath the radar, and you're not even realizing that these are things that you could really be healed from. So I want to throw that in there, because that was a discovery that I made this year through this shamanic journey.
I think that's so important that you make that. The other thing too, my background obviously is, Karen Lutzik, music cabbage. It is the Rus, right? The Ved Rus. The white bear, the spirit of the white bear. That's, the clan mother for our nations and tribes up there. And people also don't realize the 13 original nations all had, they came here from the star seeds. When they came down here, they say, talk to the Dakota, talk to any, indigenous thing. They go, we came from the stars. So Dakota was one of the, Council of 12, and there was the 13th, right? So your Octurians, ours came down. They were all led not by the president of the company or the corporation. They were led by a clan mother who came down and led the Star Nation. We're all matriarchal. It doesn't matter where you were on this planet.
Exactly.
And people have to, respect that, because a lot of us still know this, and it's not, oh, this is whatever. These people have all come here and usurped it. So every one of those 13 original nations, whether they had peace pipe treaties or wampum belts or Noah's Ark or the Eagle Board, the Chromatic, Camel's Eye Treaty, Octurian councils, all of us are matriarchal. Every one of us on this planet to this day. And that's what, we got to restore back here. And, I was dealing with someone at the University of Saskatchewan yesterday, and actually the day before. And we had Indigenous storytelling, right? And I'm in the Cree thing, right? And most of them are run by lawyers, by the way, so you know where their first allegiance is to. Exactly. And they sold their souls. That's what they do. Yeah. And I like to remind them that I said since 2013, the bar's been dismantled, And so is the inner city of London. And we see, and the Vatican. I said, and you actually are foreign agents. And you should have seen this woman. When I told her that from legal aid, she dropped her like 2 bags of groceries. I don't know if the egg shattered, but at that point I didn't care, right? Because it was confronted in her face.
Yeah.
That you have no authority here. You right now are an enemy of the clans and the tribes and the nations. You are a foreign agent. It's like an illegal alien.
Yeah. And this is one of the things I remind people of what you're talking about with those tribes. And I ask you, when we talk about this, being able to be and exist in the fifth dimension, or the idea of the ME, things coming in and out. I'm in this one dimension, it's like this, and I'm over here, it's spelled like that, all that. Well, think about it. What do you think happened to all those original tribes? What happened to the Anunnaki? What happened to the Mayans? What happened to the many of the indigenous tribes of Africa? When you talk about the pygmies and peoples like that, what happened to them? When there was a reset, when there was a changing of the age like we're dealing with now, they knew how to walk through the portals. They knew how. So that's why these cultures just seemingly seem to disappear. That one day they're there, one day it's just pots and buildings and there's no one there. Because they walked through portals at a very time like this, when it was necessary to move out of this dimension and allow what's happening then, the usurping and everything that we're dealing with now, to happen. And we're right back at that magical time. The same thing you were talking about with Anastasia, and that culture, and that's where we are. And we can do these exact same things. But it's like you're talking about, we have to get control of this avatar above and beyond just the idea of food and the ways we can nourish ourselves. So like, people talk about, I don't know if I could be breatharian. How do I can't be solarian. How do you just live off of that? Well, one of the things that you taught me about the yoni steams and what have you is that that's another way to receive nutrition. So really, when you're steaming, you're actually really, it's like if you can drink a tea, you can use the steam and your body is absorbing the same herbs. So let's talk a little bit about that, because I find that fascinating. I think that's something that people wouldn't be thinking about. Like, I could be sitting there and my body is actually absorbing the nutrients. And I find when I do my yoni steams that I feel so invigorated. Like you don't even really want to eat the same way. I mean, my eating has reduced incredibly anyhow. My body is requiring less and less foods actually. But the idea that you do feel nourished and fortified when you finish a steam.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the things that we have to take away with it, I'm just going to talk just for 1 second, I'll come back to that, is that the idea of what the portals were. Okay, the klanmother are actually what we call gatekeepers or good keepers too. We protect the sacred sites and the ley lines and the vortex lines on the planet. And that's part of our sacred, whether you call them wisdom or knowledge keepers, we're also the gatekeepers. Okay, and that's something, the original oracles or the original mood doctors of energy. And when you want to move through that gate, these gates are set up in frequency. They're just like a security scanner, right? So it really depends where you are. So that whole thing, like if you're in the shame and the anger and all that, you're not going to move through those gates. So if I'm the higher gate, like to the Octarians or whatever, you're going to have to be above, actually, like I said, close to that 800 and above to get out of here, like astral traveling. You're going to stay in a 3D situation. Right now, I will tell you, they are harvesting right now. The Corona COVID is harvesting anyone under 300.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we can tell even just by the colors. Now we're going to talk about the kind of steams we can use in the herbs. Okay, and we're going to talk about what you can get. You can go look this up. It's not rocket science, but a lot of them it could be. You could have an Italian day, like oregano, basil, and rosemary, that kind of thing. Whatever.
You can have Italian meal. You can have
Italian day, Russian day,
Mediterranean.
Pizza. I compost. You could have a fruit tea day and put in your peels from lemon, limes, and orange. You'll see a lot of them use what you call wormwood. And they use just as parasite things. Lavender, you'll see calendula, you'll see rose, you'll see plantain, you'll see mugwort and motherwort a lot. I could use dandelions, quite frankly. Okay, and then what we're going to be talking about will be the womb pearls, feminine detox pearls. Okay, they're inserted in. They're made with herbs inside. Again, the herbs are compressed into a little ball, and you can see it looks like cheesecloth, so that's the homemade version. Otherwise, you can get them in. They're inserted for 3 days, greased up with coconut oil, whatever your choice, or castor oil. After you soak them in water for a few minutes first and then put the castor oil. Then you put it in for 3 days. And every 3 days, it's reinserted. So they would do their parasite cleanses vaginally. Everything we're going to talk is about nurturing and eating through the first chakra. That really should be your mouth, not here.
Right.
Have it so literally ass backwards. And what happens is when you were actually, that's why, literally,
no pun intended.
Exactly. I'm a colon hydrotherapist, guys. Okay. I know every butt and ass joke there is right now. You come up with a new one, let me know. You know what? That colon, and that's where I talked about the ascending and the descending colon, ascending masters. Have you ever heard of ascending masters? Because they know to keep that clean. Yeah. When you were in the womb in mommy's little belly, that's all you did, that 40-foot pipe and then this 6-foot one here. And remember, you got like 20 some feet through the small intestine. There was nothing in there. You were just actually circulating. That's what the colon hydrotherapy does. It replaces your mom's umbilical cord. So every one of us, the great mothers, are usually colon hydrotherapists, by the way. Or you do home enemas. The problem is the enema will only do the lower chakras. Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is where colon, and there's the term, be decolonized. You don't die intestate. The lawyers know those things. The Dracos know their terms. Yeah. And that's part of the thing. You know, this coronavirus, it's a response. So again, you can do oils, and actually there's one here. I'll show you there's a toilet bowl version. That's my toilet, by the way. Mm-hmm. Okay, so there's the toilet bowl version. You put a little cloth over the toilet and just put your herbs in there. You can see women in their spas and men in their spas. And oh, by the way, there's your men, by the way. There's the doctors. There's an entire clinic called Ticum Spa down in Los Angeles. It's run by a cardiovascular doctor. And as people know, that's Dr. Gary DeBray. So you can actually see his entire experience that he actually showed before and after, just before Corona, but they actually swabbed down there. They wanted to show that the candida, the yeast, the fungus, that basically the pathogens or the germs were being eradicated. How do we know this works? Because it does. I don't have to be just a nurse. You know, it's better when you don't. Again, I'm unregistered. I'm not with the corporation, guys. Right. You'll see it on live blood cell. You will see, again, every chakra is connected to the nervous system, to the back. And again, your root chakra starts in the feet. So the people that are dying of cancer, Corona, and all that, they're in that red part. On their way out, they're at 30 millivolts. They have like no energy. So really, we got to get you vibrating way higher. That's why I talk about this is, I can see it in the eyes. You can see the color of the chakras through there. There's your aura scan. And we're going to talk about simple things, doing herbs, oils, that type of thing, and wrapping your feet up. So I'm just going to come back to some of the things here. When we have something in 3D, it's going to be like, if I went out and got my shaga mushroom off my birch tree, I can't eat that too hard. Okay, this is 3D stuff. So how am I going to break it down so it's edible? So what most people do is actually throw this into a pot of water and let it simmer, and you're going to pull out all the different nutrients. And this is what Anastasia was talking about, and this is what we need to know. And the reason I'm bringing this up is David Wolf was right. He did the book on medical, the king of, mushrooms. Yeah. So Rishi's the queen, this is the king. And what happens in here is that you need this nutrients right now. There's certain things I'm going to talk about. One will be activated charcoal. The other one is going to be shaga, and using essential oils, because those are the things that you need with those fine monatomic minerals. And again, you can't eat this. That's like what they want. They want you to take a pill and take it down. So, however, if I put this into my pot of water and steamed it up, yes, we can drink shaga tea. Now I want you to think about taking all your reishi, shaga, and all your herbs, minerals, plant material, and steaming it up. Steam, most people don't know, is the only thing that expands pretty well. Anything cold or anything else, you're coming back down to that finite point. You're coming down to the alpha omega. You're coming down into the alpha point. Now, steam takes the physical and reverses the process. It starts expanding. Heat rises. So when you're funneling it now in, by the way, and I'm going to put this out, that's what the LBGT is doing right now. They're inverting everything, and they take this off just in case. You start seeing how they use colors frequencies, all sorts of things. And that's what they do to the children. They invert it. Okay. So we need to, again, do the expansion. And so this is a really old technique. One of the most exciting ones I've ever done. One of the things right now, a lot of people are worried about Corona. Well, who made it? China virus? What else do we call it? Made by the Jesuits. Also people that were sinners. Sine waves. Okay. Here's the antidote for it. That's natural quinine. It's called shikona bark. I want you guys to look at that. It's not HCQ. That, when you do your studies like I do, is what it looks like. So you can get it in a tincture, powder, or those sort of things, pills. So a lot of people right now, it's like elderberry. Let's talk about what gets rid of viruses. Virus is the poison. Steaming is the best way to do it. Okay. So you can take all the plant material you want, chaga, herbs, oils, aromatherapy, whatever you like, and steam it. And I don't know if you've done it. I've been steaming since I was a child. And what happened is that you can do it for the face, right? Yeah. We all know about, oh yeah, we go to the spa and they're like putting heat steam on us. Now, what I want you to do is just take those bowls or steam it yourself. Again, this is excellent. If we're talking about stuff, I'm going to talk about all the hope for post-traumatic stress and the anxiety with this kind of stuff. Everyone has had post-traumatic stress with this. Okay. So steam can be different ways. It can be a facial steam, or there's the professional steams.
Right.
That you'll see at like Red Tent Wellness. Now, what I'm going to talk about, I'm going to show you how to take a $200 steamer like this, or $150, and I'm going to show you how to make it from Walmart.
That's always nice, because that's another thing that people deal with. We want to do a lot of these things, and so much of it is necessary. But like, you've been just brilliant at breaking down inexpensive ways to accomplish the same thing. Because I remember when I was first looking for the whole yoni setup, and I'm looking at all these things, and there's $125 for this little piece of wood bench and another thing and this. And when you say, Rob, just go to Walmart and get a camp chair, $5 camp chair, cut a hole in it. I'm like, well, that's brilliant. That works. And then it folds up and it's out the way, and it's, so you just always have these really great ways of coming up with, because it's not about the money as much as it is about the technology and understanding what we need to do for the body. And that can be, ancients did it with just what was out and around them. So certainly we can.
They didn't have Walmart. They didn't need Walmart. That's the thing. Exactly. Most people don't know. If you know about the Tartarian, I do. I've got my tarts in my kilts too. I am a little tart. I'm also one of the old hags. So, a lot of people, and I'm just bringing them up to you. People know about oils and aromatherapy. You can put it on the feet, the skin. You can also take it internally in pills. Okay. So another way to do it is I'll use it in steam. Some schools like it and some people don't, but you can also do hydrosols into these. And I'm going to show you how to prep it right up. So again, get those things on. If you're scared, go do this with some castor oil pack. Like I showed you, put a hot wet towel on. And I'm going to show you how to make
packs. I've been doing that for ages. Yeah. That's something I got from my grandmothers and everybody. It's just, that's age old. That comes out of the Edgar Casey stuff as well. He did a lot on the castor oil packs. If anybody's interested.
Yeah, castor oil. I'll show you that too. Yeah. Okay, a lot of people, they were using Palo Santo, they were using their, sages and everything else, right? And they're trying to do their smudge bowls and this kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and that was called moxibustion. Okay, that's the, we smudge, right? We think like we're indigenous, like we know what we're doing, right?
Our smoke baths, as they call them.
Our smoke thing, also called moxibustion. So what the women used to do, or yugamushi, is the Asian word. Right. The one that's called a chai yoke, to yoke come together, right? Energy yokes, energy comes together. So what you're trying to do and go in the root chakra is you're creating the male and the female to come together. So your first thing is not the third eye. It's actually down in the root chakra, the vagina, or in men in the pelvic floor. Okay, so this was called moxibustion. So that's what they would do. They would go underneath, put this on the floor, and a lot of women, you can get moxibustion machines at Red Tent Wellness. They're about $70, $80 or something. Okay, so we're used to that. Next thing we had was aromatherapy. So then we were all diffusing and we're spritzing our hydrosols and we got aromatherapy going everything, right? Another way to smudge, get rid of like demons or, possession. The idea is to have it in you. Okay. We've got Klingons and stuff like that too. And the other thing I'm going to talk about just quickly before I go into steam, because I'm thinking about it now.
And we got to still spend some time talking about, oh yeah, the candling. I wanted to talk about that candling. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about it just right now for a sec. I'm going to go in and I'm going to actually show you how to do the steam from scratch. Perfect. So you can get what's called, people know ear candles here. Okay, you basically literally just light this little puppy on fire. Okay, get some protective stuff. You can use a plate or fabric or whatever, and you pull it out. Okay, and you use a couple candles. They take about 5 minutes each. What you can also do is stick it in the belly button down here. And put, your essential oils on here. Some people put warm packs and stuff like that. But you will actually find things are being pulled out. And the reason I did is when by the way, I'll do it again, lit.
I thought that was brilliant when you shared that with me, the whole idea of navel candling. I hadn't heard of it before until you shared it with me just recently. I'm like, oh my God, that.
And what I did is I went around people. And I went around the vortex of my clients, right? And right where those grid points were, when I had the fire, I burnt some of those entities out, or Klingons or nanotechnology, because these are interdimensional things that you can't always see. Okay, so it's in here.
Share with us real quickly what one of the things that recently you were working with a client and you were talking about how so much stuff was being pulled down from the upper chakras, because that's a big one for a lot of people. When you actually start going in and doing that work, you find out a lot of people talk about, I see a lot of blockages around the throat chakra, the whole area actually from between the pineal and the heart. This throat chakra, it's a huge area that seems like it gets co-opted. And it's surprising how a lot of people who think pretty much see themselves as being verbal and a lot of things still find that area was co-opted. And you were sharing something with me the other day that reminded me of that.
I did the ear candles. So we did 2 in the ears, and then I did 2 in the belly button one night. And again, just look up navel, Navel, by the way, Navi, connection, right? It's an old word, by the way. Looked at Avatar, they talked about Navi. Anyway, the prophets. We're connected, men and women, from all time and eternity, through that umbilical. There's an invisible cord that goes in there. So when you're in the womb, you're actually connected to all the mothers for all time and eternity. What they've been doing is again, as you move forward, up and down, front and back your timeline, they're trying to co-opt your front timelines. They're trying to cut off your connection to the divine feminine and to your mothers, and to your etheric Gaia. And so what happens here is that you can go back through the belly button here. And then what started happening with my clients is acupuncture readings, like how things interhook, like a hooks and attack. It started draining through her neck. So again, it was pulling out things through the lymphatics and through the breast and through the chest. So women with breast tumors, lymphatics to drain. And then the cool thing is that she had a shoulder pain, which I didn't know about. And it actually loosened it up. She was able to move. Neck pain, carrying stress, that type of thing. And then the other thing that was very cool is that we've been trying to do colon hydrotherapy. She had gained about, I don't know, probably about 80, 90 pounds. There's adrenal burnout, DVTs, all sorts of stuff. And she was getting the double full tummy already, what we call an apron. And there was this mass and there was this mass, and we just couldn't get it down. After we did the candling, so the night before I did the candles, next day, she was like, holy crap, it pulled out of here, pull out of here. Those 2 candles under the belly button softened the abdominal mass.
Wow.
And so she went with me the next day. She got 4 candles. I got 4 candles. And make sure, I was talking to Dr. Ariel Policato too at Genius Biofeedback, because I'm teaching this all over, by the way, guys. What happens, and this is before the Mayan mothers, by the way, the Russian mothers. What happens, make sure you get the 12-inch candles. A lot of them are too small or too skinny. You really need a really nice one that's wrapped. So they all burn differently. You might have to try different suppliers. Don't assume they all are the same or burn. Some don't burn with crap. That one burns just excellently. And I've been using that for a long time. But what I was not expecting, and something's prompted me, is I need to go around with you, not smudging. I need to go around with the fire. And I actually heard sizzling in the field.
Really?
Wow. That's what I got when I said, oh my gosh. So when I went to her at different, must have been juncture points, again, something's hanging out there. You can't see the nanotechnology that's running in through the geoengineering or aerosols, or as people know, chemtrails, or etheric implants. We took them out of the biofeed. I burnt them. So when I started
Exactly.
looking, when I do the Genius biofeedback, I look for the inner like meridians, which also correlates the outer.
Yeah, it
I
does.
actually heard
Definitely.
this thing sizzle. I was like, right? So in matrix energetics with Dr. Richard Bartlett, right? You know, you're feeling like what we call two pointing with him.
Right, exactly.
Richard Bartlett is amazing. You know, forget the Reiki guys. I'm a Reiki now. I got like what? No, matrix energetics, right? You throw
Right.
everything out the window
Well,
and we
it's
start
funny
again.
because this is one of the things I do say, though, having been a Reiki master of 30 plus years,
Me too.
it's constantly, it's constantly has evolved. So even when I go through the process of, even when I work with, very seldom, but I do periodically bring people through the Reiki process into Reiki master. I don't do any of it the way it's been taught over
No.
the time period, the symbols, all of that, because the energetics have changed to the point that it's really not even like it had been, you
Yeah.
know. And so when I'm scanning people's fields, I can find, I can scan, I can feel where the inserts are, I can feel where things are coming in, and
Yeah.
even interdimensionally, not even just within the auric field, but I can even sense what dimension or how interdimensionally these things are coming in and actually connecting. So it is, it's like everything. If you allow the point at which you come into an energy frequency and it informs you, and for me it was 30 years ago as Reiki, but
Yeah.
if you allow to follow that energy and let the energy teach you,
Right.
then you evolve with that energy. And though you may still call it something, because we call things everything, it's what
Yeah.
you feel and sense and understand about it that's most important. So I couldn't agree with you more. That is just gone
Yeah.
somewhere else, and you have to just keep lockstep with it.
Yeah. And to me, it
And my
wasn't even
practice
matrix.
has kept,
It was beyond matrix or mot.
yeah,
What are we? The matrix, the matrix. This goes before the
the
Egyptian
ma print. Yep.
Mot. Yeah, the great Mot, the great mother, they call us. And so,
Yeah.
you know, people scripturally is to be the angels of the heavens, the queens of the heavens, so queens of the waters, whatever. There's
Right.
always a word for it. Now, one of the things I want to do, besides getting comfortable on the floor,
And actually, the Latin word for matrix actually means womb.
that's right. The
That's
great
what the
womb.
word is. It means womb.
I'm the great womb mother. One of the things here is I want to show you that's what we're going to be doing. Okay. So I don't care. We're going to be putting the steam in the bubble, steaming your little inner, ship here. Okay. You're going to be opening up that. We're creating a fire in the hole. That's your kundalini. I don't care if you got toenail fungus. I don't care if you have knee problems. I don't care if you got heart problems, physical, mental, emotional. This is
Wow.
for you. I do
Amazing.
children and I do dogs. I've done everything on these things. Okay, so don't think it's limited to what women. And I do it for men. Like I said, for men, it's called a lingam steam or whatever.
Yeah.
What I've been doing through the biofeedback here on this particular machine, and that's why they're important. And I'm going to show you a homemade version without doing this. So let's say I found what herbs and stuff I need. So I've got them in my little tray here, for example. And I pick the herbs in the trays and I put them into the tray. And what I do then is I start the machine. I plug in my Genius biofeedback. This is called a belt, and it's a splitter into the actual machine. Here, I've got a little Tesla coil plate. Okay, it's called a programmer or imprinter or remedy plate from geniusbiofeedback.com. They're about $300. However, I'm going to show you how to do it at home for free. Seriously, I figured out one here. You take your spring water from findaspring.com because it's biophotonic. Okay. So for those of us, Robin and I, if we had plates, we could just put our water on and we're going to pump it right into here. However, what you can do is a pair of hair phones, and this is what people don't know about biofeedback. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to transfer the water that we've energized or blessed into the Venus and steam it down.
Beautiful. Brilliant.
Okay. I'm developing new techniques people have never heard of. Okay. So the biofeedback, when we play it here, okay, let's say I want to begin my analysis and I want to play those frequencies or sulfidal tones. So again, as we know about hemisync or holosync, I plug my stuff into here. Now it's becoming ultrasonic. That's where you get the hemisync holosync. Now you're doing stem cell or organ stimulation or DNA activation. But listening to that one thing is seriously like 20%. Put these on, okay, you're at about 80%. Okay, so when I have a breast tumor, I can go like this. I have a sore neck, I can go like this. Okay, and by the way, these were like $4 at dollar stores up here.
That makes
Okay,
so
I
much
have a root
sense.
chakra issue, I could actually hook it up here. Or I have a gallbladder, I have a sore back. These are really expandable and they're really inexpensive. But the more important thing, I could put them around the water.
Love it. Love it.
Okay, so there we go. There's my thing here. So I'm going to make my remedy. So I'm going to actually pump in the volume here, okay, around this. Okay, now what I do is I plug it in while you're on your 14-day free trial, or Robin and I can help you with this. Because again, we do distance therapy. Again, anyone can do it themselves, but if you don't have a machine, like I said, we're giving everyone 2 weeks. I'm going to plug it in here and I'm going to play it. And so right now, if I put the volume up, you can actually start hearing the volume come up. If I put up the volume here, there we go. That's what you're doing to the client. Okay, so they hear it. If I plug it in, now it's sonically doing that, cymantically. You know, if you've ever seen cymatics, you can see how the water vortexes. You know
Yeah,
what
so
I'm
if you
doing?
think about the work of Emoto, many of you are familiar with that in the audience. Same exact thing, he showed exactly how that was working. And on an energetic level, this is moving through the electrical impulses within our aura and our own field as it relates to the biosphere. So that's how you're receiving the tones that are creating the energetic healing. Go ahead.
Right. So now what I'm now doing the semantics right into my water glass here.
Yeah.
Got it? And then you can do different things. So I could drink that water, but now what I want to do, I want to steam it. This is where Steamy Chick comes in. So what do you need for the Canadian Tire special? Not much.
That's a brilliant way of doing it.
Yeah. You guys can do it without hot plate. Okay. That will give you about 10 minutes. You're going to get one of those big, Italian mom, I want to put spaghetti things in, the big pots. I do at least 6 cups. So you can actually take this and just take your plant material or herbs and oils and put it in here. Okay. So I could do loose teas into here. Okay, just herbs or whatever. I'm actually recycling my stuff. And then you can also, if you want, you can put tea bags in. Put a tea bag in.
Yep.
I don't think this is like, I gotta go out and get all this expensive teas and everything else.
No.
You could if you want.
I throw essential oils in mine. I'm sure you do as well.
Yeah.
Yep. So if you have essential oils,
spring water, herbs, I don't care what it. There's my loose herbs. Okay. There's your calendula like I showed you before.
Yep.
Now, if I want, I can do it with a hydrosol too, or essential oils. I might want to put a couple of essential oils in.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
You guys have no idea what it smells like. It's right here.
It smells so good.
The other thing too, what's happening, I could even put a little bit of shaga reishi mushroom.
This thing, you're on there for hours. And the thing I like about the camp chair or something like that, because it has the arms, you can have like your little drink there, your water or your hot tea. And you can sit there, read a book, put your cover over you. It's so comfy that you can be there for an hour or more just chilling.
Yeah, we do. We have entire couples that do it. I have one set, she's hilarious. Joanne, shout out to Joanne and Alex, but I'll just say they don't know the last name. Anyway, what they did is they've got a routine. So they sit on the other side of a table and they play crib for an hour before bed.
What a great idea!
They play games or talk, and that's their time together.
Oh, how beautiful is that? Now that's going back to coming together in union. That's the sacred, the coupling.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Now what I've done is I've programmed now the water. Okay. Now that can go in just like a homeopathic.
Right.
Okay. Now, that's the fun stuff here. Okay. But at the same time, you could actually be doing this. So what I like to do, and if you don't have a pot, whatever, these cheap things also operate, or the glass Pyrex. I don't care what you use, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Okay. So either way, what I did is I went and I got just a hot plate. I like the
That's
covered ones better.
yeah.
This is an open quill. My preference is to have one at, I think from Amazon. Anyway, they're $15, $20.
That's where I think I got mine from, and it's just the clothes in
The closed
induction
is better.
thing.
I like the closed better, but you know what? I have used the open. I'm just careful with it.
It
What I
works.
will do is I will put because I'm on carpet here visiting. What I usually do is put a cutting board underneath here,
Yeah.
but don't touch the carpet. So the thing you can do is into closed rooms, like bathrooms. I've got a lot of people doing it now in the into their shower rooms or into their steam sauna room. You know, so if you've got aromatherapy like showers and stuff like that where you're really enclosed, you're also getting like your own steam room. So here's your hot plate. Here's your water going, spring water. And then what you do is you get it going and fire it up in steam. Now, as Robin said, this is my, what we call Rona Canadian Tire up here. You know what you have down there. It's a Home Depot thing. But Walmart will do it too. I went literally and just got friends of mine to cut out a 7-inch circle. So 6 to 7 inches is about right.
Yeah.
It could be a circle. It could be a square. Some people use a diamond. I've seen people put a heart shape. I don't care. Be creative. The easiest way, as she said, is to go to a store that has the beach chair where you go to the lawn and sit down with the 2 drinks ready to, chill out. And so what happens is that you can use that canvas chair. As you said, it's $5, $10 anywhere. You know, a lot of people have them sitting there, ready to go for the summer, and it's not doing anything. And I've gone to my friends and I said, "You have a sentimental attachment." Yeah, can you show that?
So
open it up.
this is just, and
yeah.
then you open it up, and then you have the same type of setup.
There you go. Exactly.
Right, the 7-inch. I did just like you said. And then it's nice and comfy. You got the arms on it. And this was literally $5. So you can get one of these, and they work beautifully. And then what I like about them is that they're easy to store. You can just put them anywhere. A lot of times people say, "I don't know where I'm going to put all this stuff." It's so easy to tuck this kind of stuff away.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. So I want stuff that was portable, or when we were doing for yoga studios and stuff, I wanted stuff that would fold up or, go away very easily. Yeah. And didn't take a lot of things. There is a way where you can do a box. I really like the cedarwood boxes. It's actually just 5 pieces that slot in, like the 4 squares. Mm-hmm. Then you just put your top one in there and cut a hole out. So you could actually put it and just fold it down with seriously 5 pieces of wood, like 20 by 20. It really isn't rocket size. And I do like the wood ones better myself. Mm-hmm. That kind of station. If you can get cedar wood, it's more of a grounding thing. Yeah. They would use these kind of techniques, but they would use them in the sweat lodges, and that's what the women's tent lodges were used for. That's what the teepees were used for. That was a smaller fire. So they had the big teepee lodge, and then they had a smaller one for just the women.
Right. Yeah.
And so that's what the original sweat lodges were used for. So they had smaller fires in there, and they would heat it up with the rocks, and then they would put their plant material and just stand over it, even with your skirt. So that was the idea, I'm sure, of having tarts now and kilts. Anyway, all you do is you heat it up, and then what you do is just literally sit on it. And you sit on it preferably with your bottom end naked. I mean, it does go through clothing, but I have children here. I've got
it's nice if you just can be in your nature suit, and putting a towel over there like you've done before with cutting a hole, and I've done the same thing. Just put an extra towel because we'll start perspiring and stuff. And then I also like to put a blanket. I'll just kind of get a blanket or something cozy and put it over my lap and let it drape down, because then it creates like a sauna. It creates a channel where all that stays in.
Here's just the big, idea of, again, the sweat lodge again, but you create it here. You just drape it around, so you've now got everything enclosed here.
Yes.
Okay, the other thing we've done it where is commode chairs, or actually camping chairs, like porta potties. Okay, so all you have to do is literally drop your thing, and then you're sitting on it like this. It's coming up here, men and women. And like I said, I've got people that have done their animals. So a lot of times, do I have to take out time to do it? No, because you could have just seen me for the first hour, like from here up. And I've done actually lots of interviews. I went, where am I going to fit my steam time? I went, never mind. I've been doing interviews, and you just see me here and getting probably maybe a little heated or flushed, but I just turn it down and you don't know what's going on. So it's not about taking time. You have to create it. Yes. Like I said, whether it's that couple that play, before bed, and, do it together. You have to make the time,
Yeah.
and everyone
it
wants a
goes
quick
back to
fix.
exactly. And if you look at it as nourishment, which is why I really like that when you really broke that down for me, is if you really look at it as it's another way of you're nourishing or supplementing the body. So we stop and we take time to eat, have a dinner, have whatever. Well, sometimes we have an evening snack. If you look at it like, this is do it with your cup of tea or whatever, and look at it as an opportunity to nourish the body, because you are literally feeding the body, like Karen said, at this exponential level, because you got all these technologies coming together with the water and everything that's being infused and all of the herbs and what have you. But also you're dealing with expansion. So because of the steam, it's coming in and it's expanding into the body and just doing this incredible healing. And so I just think it's an incredible idea. But the candling too, I have not done that navel candling, but I'm waiting for my candles to come. I'm definitely going to try that one since you told me about it here recently. So we probably should be getting ready to come to a close, because we've been at this for a while. It doesn't, it's like over an hour or so now.
Hour and 10, yeah.
But no, let's just got to bring it to a conclusion. But I really want people to have the full idea of exactly what, and how to maybe even reach out to you and things like that. So
yeah, it can get a hold of me at klanmother 13. That's with a K. Otherwise, the woman with the C always has to forward it to me. But we'll make her life easier. It's KLAN, klanmother13@gmail.com. I've got 5 Facebooks, and I know what, they're all over 5,000 because I just took another one down the other day. And send me the message and I'll get it. And I'm also on Telegram, Karen Ann Lusick McDonald, and I'm also on MeWe. I'm also on Gab. I'm also on a few other things, Twitter and stuff too. Well, we still have them. We've moved a lot of our stuff also onto Rumble at Project Ascension too. So I've done a lot of stuff with, like I said, Nicholas Varrigan, but Project Ascension has got a lot of stuff I've done with Robin too at Healing Circle Network, or the other stuff with Conversations with Gaia. Mm-hmm. One of the things I wanted to show you very, very quickly though, is when I showed you the pearls, people were like, I can't do it. It's too expensive. I don't have time. I'm going to show you how to make one in 3 seconds.
I remember how you showed me how to make one. I was like, oh my God, this is exciting. This is a couple years back, but I was like, oh, yeah.
I just want to show you how simple it is. It's about being creative, okay? I don't have the, like I showed you the very nice, cute little one here that we had, and it's all cute and
all nice and proper.
Yeah, well, whatever. That's cute too. Wait, I took a 4x4 gauze. Mm-hmm. I actually at times have actually taken just a tea bag and put it in and wrapped it.
Why not?
That works. And it works. You just get whatever size you want. So you just pull that out. The thing is just to take your loose teas or herbs or whatever you want. So you take these, you fine ground them so that they're into this kind of consistency. And that's where you can put your baking soda and stuff or bentonite clay. You put it up here and then you tie it up with a piece of string and cut off the ends. And voila. Okay. That just saved you
lots of money.
Okay. Yeah. I just showed you how to do it for 50 cents compared to.
Because they're expensive. I think they're like $14 or something. You get 3 of them or something like that. Yeah. And I think the homemade ones, personally, I like better because I feel like, I know the smaller ones are compacted, but I feel like just more oomph to it. They're more absorbent or something. I don't know. I like the homemade ones personally.
I like the homemade ones. And the other thing too, and the reason why is for things. This is for sexual abuse, ritual abuse. That's for cutting your cords to the perpetrators or bad divorces or whatever you want to say, men and women. You cut cords and attachments. You're steaming, like I said, that whole field. The other thing too is when you're making your own pearls, I have most of the women right now that are, almost most of them are becoming incontinent because the root chakra, like I said, the radiation, the 5G, everything right now is taking its effect, and most of the women have become stress incontinent too, or prolapsing. So when you make these pearls, you can use a diva cup or make them a little bit bigger, grease them up, and they can sit there for 3 days, but they keep the vaginal walls back and your bladder prolapsing. So a lot of people, this helps, like instead of a pizarrary, you can use this for incontinence. And this is a huge thing because this is very much affecting the women's psyche.
Yeah.
And just the one last thing too here is that this is just an example of, you can make your own. This was just a herbal gel. Instead of paying, $10 for these things, and you don't use Caniston and stuff for stuff. You get your herbs, you put it in a gelatinous form, and it can be either vaginally or rectally absorbed. Again, I'm talking about how these are absorbed. 3 days, This was for cancer, viruses, bacteria, high blood pressure, corona. You could put in your elderberries. Like all this stuff could be used. It's how you absorb it. And right now with the biofilm, if you take pills with all that nanotech they've done in the Monsanto glyphosate, most people are just, everything's going right through them.
Yeah.
So I just want to leave that with you. And so they can get a hold of me.
Excellent.
Yeah, I do one-on-one private consults for people. I do groups like this and teachings and radio shows and TV shows and stuff too. So if they want just a one-on-one, I love doing that. Or I'll sit down and do a whole family, or the mom brings up and brings all the children and half the clan in the tribe too. We do whatever is required upon request. So if they just email me.
That I reached out to you after seeing you. I think the first time I saw your work was you were being interviewed by Miles Johnson.
Oh, with the Basis Project. Yeah, I just did one.
Yeah, you told me recently, and so that's when I reached out to you. We did the one-on-one session, which was really powerful, and we've been buddies ever since. But you just are so knowledgeable, and you give so freely of it, and I just think it's an important place for us to definitely move back to in this current journey that we're on, and understanding how you take control of your it's called, as people say, ascension. I've always said expansion, because Guy has always shown this expanding thing that happens, and when you expand in balance, you're going up, out, down, everything. It's like an orb, and which is what higher consciousness is, right? We always talk about these orbs of light and everything. It's because it is more symmetrical as you think about moving into the dimensions. So but no, so the point is that that's where we first came into it. So you can kind of connect with Karen on, I would recommend, on whatever level that you find, but definitely starting with this yoni and with the steam, and the looking at steaming as nutrition. That was huge for me. That was a breakthrough moment, because we had talked about this, you shared with this for the last few years, but one of our conversations when you were talking about is nutrition, I'm like, wow, that really just hit it for me. And maybe that would do the same for others. It was something you were saying there that that we were talking about, the way you're using the pearls. It had me thinking about ask you another question, but it'll come back.
I put the pearls, just to let you know, on that tray down here. And I also imprint them with everything and then put them in to be absorbed. Because again, you can take any substance, whether it's crystals, yoni pearls, water. Water is the best absorbent. I do want to share one thing. When we're talking about nutrition, I want you to think of it from this point of view. I can program in 20, 30 herbs or whatever I want in that tray and put them into their water, and it's really cool to do, because water is the universal solvent, not all these 3D things. I want you to think about the nutrition. When you take 1 drop of essential oil, like 1 drop of peppermint, you're taking equivalent to about 26 cups of peppermint tea. You're changing the frequency of it. So when we move it into the steam, make it exponential. And the amount of nutrition that you are getting, remember what Gary Young or anyone was doing. They were taking the plant material like this. This is a distillation chamber. The difference is it's going into your noble chambers. Okay, this is the chamber. And what they would do is capture it, and it would become the essential oil. Right now, you're not going for the oil. The oils, the aromatics are going directly into your blood system. But people don't realize this. This is not about steaming. This is about nutrition. And when I broke my knee, or ankle, I put that up over there. I put, like I said, my friend's doing her dogs over there. There's another way to do pets and stuff, and same thing with biofeedback. This was a kit, therapeutic, just to let you know. It's called Anjou, ANJOU. Okay. This has got 18 baby oils in it for under $30 on Amazon.
Wow.
People need to stop. This has been, again, I have to find things, because they deal with a lot of the clan or the tribal people, right? And a lot of these don't have 2 cents to rub together. But, you're not going to go give expensive things. You're going to get their pH changed. With everyone I have getting their back to alkalinity with literally teaspoons of baking soda a day with equal amounts of baking soda.
Right.
Maple syrup and, that, like very simple things. Or, then you've got the Dr. Robert O. Young's, it's called all high-tech tinctures. It's about absorption right now. And the nutrition, we are so nutritionally deficient. The steam is water. And that's the cosmic solvent. That's actually what really starts opening up your chakras. And just to give you an idea, many people have got back pain. It helps straighten that out, align the chakras, sealing field. And if you think
Wow.
about Anastasia with the plant, you are that tree. The best thing actually in that pot is not all the herbs, anything from the tree. Chaga, cedarwood tree,
Mm-hmm.
birch tree, elm tree. All your forestry material in there gives you the best amount of nutrition. Because
Right.
you look to
And
nature outside,
I
that's
use
what
a
stops
lot
the
of
5G.
I do use a lot of my tree oils in there, my cedar oil, my pine oils, white fir. I put a lot of the tree oils in there. And also what I put in there is food grade bicarbonate soda.
That's what I'm saying. The baking soda can go there or in the pearls. The other
Helps,
thing too is
helps with oxidation of
I've
the
used hydrogen peroxide, lots of Epsom salts. Put lots of your salts in here, your Himalayan salts or your Celtic salts. So which Celtic salts are more monatomic, but I've got Manitou salts and stuff. And again, you're getting your grounding and your earthing. Nothing could come against you. When you look like a tree, smell like a tree, you are the tree. And that's why you see our auras looking like that. They don't look sick. And
And the
it's
other
great
thing
for
I
weight
like to
loss
throw in
too.
there for the ladies that because this is one of the things that you deal with over time. You start feeling like you're not as moist. You don't feel like you're just dryness and stuff. Is put nettles. Put some nettles
Yeah.
in there. That steaming nettles will help you really keep you nice and moist and everything flowing nicely. Nettles are
All
good.
the stuff you learn too, like the emotional release oils, all this for stress, conceptual stuff we're having to deal with. I do a lot of this, like I said, for addictions counseling, post-traumatic stress. This is one of the number one ways to actually absorb things. And don't poo-poo it till you've tried it, because I've had clients do this every day and these techniques that I'm sharing with you. And one woman got off 8 medications in under 3 months. So in 12 weeks, she came off cancer pills,
What?
thyroid, synthroid. She came off high blood pressure, sleeping pills, antidepressants, highly addictive stuff. Oh yeah, and metformin for the diabetes. Again, they're misdiagnosing, and that's why I encourage people, get a hold of Robin or me or whatever, go to geniusbiofeedback.com. Take your 2-week free trial. Just remember that you got to, go in and manually override the system so Apple doesn't freak out and say, I'm not getting any money. So expect it is safe to do that. Start there. Look after your own health, because this is the whole thing. This is, people want the regen beds. Make your own bed, a regenerative bed. Make this is for people here. You start steaming, oh my gosh, you look like 5-10 years younger. Most people take me for into my late 30s to 40s. Double that age.
Hold on to it. Lock it in.
I always expect, there's a grandmother or grandmother, and they expect some white-haired little thing, and I'm hitting here going, okay, let's do some yoga stuff. This is a form of yoga, by the way.
Yeah,
So
it is.
Beanies knew how to do that. And the reason why, like I said, you can be doing the enemas, or I'm a colon hydrotherapist, get this stuff going. Again, the water can be imprinted. You can reuse that water, make a huge batch up, keep it in the fridge, put it up for like solar tea, and just have at it. There's so many ways, and just create your own chair, Robin and I showed you, this is just about doing it. Don't think about it.
Just
This
jump
is
in.
doing it.
Just get in. And so hopefully the walk away with this is just a lot of ideas of how to begin to really move into the next level of actually clearing the body, taking control of your your psyche field, your auric field, and really understanding what in order to raise your consciousness, you really are raising energy in the body, and we're going inside to do it. This is not an external experience. Moving into our 5th dimension is not external. It is definitely internal. You're going inside. And that's why I like what you were saying, Ascension. You really are going inside to move yourself out. And so these are just, I want to take the opportunity to share a lot of Karen's work with you guys, introduce you to those who are not familiar with her work, and those of you who are just catching up with some of the latest stuff that she's doing right now. So we'll go ahead and call it a show. And certainly I'll have Karen back. There's a lot more to talk about, as always, but I wanted, my whole point of coming back and to this channel is to give some practical step-by-step. These are the things that you can do, not the airy-fairy, kind of thinking this is what it is. Just some good practical things that you can do to really lock your ascension in, because this is how I've done it. This is how I'm continuing to do it. This is how Karen and many of her contemporaries and people that you're interfacing with, as well as your clients. This is how we're getting it done. So once again, thank you so much, Karen. I'll make sure that I'll put information underneath the video, but it's klanmother, KLAN mother 13@gmail.com is the easiest way to catch hold of her. And we'll put some of the Genius website down as well, so people will know. And aside from that, my friend, it's always nice hanging out with you. I love you so much. You're awesome, and you've got so much. You always got something new. Every time I talk to you, you're like, "Hey, Robin," it's like, "Whoa, I'm trying to catch up on the last stuff I got from you." So
I'm going to give you just one more in there. We talked a little bit. Just one. It'll take 30 seconds, but there's a sovereignty thing. I'd like people to look up. It's called Tribal Laws, Mr. Meredith Quinn, and Tribal Laws, Eagle Clan. And the third one is called Aboriginal Lands, Freeman, and then Chief Rock. The reason why is because this is what's going on. And people do not really get what's going on because we've got international peacekeepers here. Okay, so this whole thing, and we just don't want people masking. I don't want anyone doing that. And I don't want anyone taking the injectable. This is not a vaccine this round, guys. Vaccines were used up till this year. And right now, this is an RNA scrambler. So I'm using things to show you. Don't be worried. The virus is non-existent. It's not contagiable. What it was the previous vaccines and the prescriptions and the 5G combination. So that is your Corona COVID. That's your chair there. There's the chambers.
There's your chambers. So
chambers.
Definitely reach
the
out.
Fully chair.
So definitely reach out and get more of that from Karen. And aside from that, we're going to wrap it up. Thank you so much, my friend, for being here today. And those of you who are joining me in this broadcast, thank you so much. And any information, any questions, any dialogue you want to have, make sure you put in the comment section, and we'll be sure to, to reach out. So once again, thank you so much. And that's it. We'll close the show down. All right. Take care.